Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. It's fucking crazy, I've been doing this for a fucking year. Freshman year, in the bag. History is interesting as shit. It tells you a lot about what the fuck's going on right now. With the holidays fast approaching, it's got me thinking about all the people that aren't here. Friends, family, people in the past. People we'll never know. People whose stories were never told, never written down. I mean, that's even happening today. There's thousands of people that die every day, and no one knows their story. Happy holidays. It's not too happy for some. Especially for the families missing their loved ones that are possibly fighting on the front lines or are no longer fighting, they are deceased. When is enough enough? It's insane. I just hope our kids can learn from this and don't repeat their mistakes. But I reckon that's what our grandparents thought too. So, there's that. But anyway, I didn't mean to get all dark and shit, but if you like the show, hit that follow. Go ahead and support us on Patreon. I'm a one-man band. It's hard for me to manage all this stuff. I try. Do the best I can. The content is truly what I care about. The history, learning, and connecting it to today. Because believe it or not, we are echoing the fucking past. Let's start with something people hate admitting. If you were born into a world where your family could abandon you overnight, food meant power, loyalty meant nothing, and violence was the default language, you wouldn't grow up peaceful. You'd grow up dangerous. That's Temüjin, or better known as Genghis Khan. And pretending he could have chosen a softer path is just fantasy. This is not a hero story. It's not destiny. This is a story about a system so broken that the only way to survive it was to take control of it. Temüjin didn't rise because he wanted power. He rose because the steppe punished weakness with death, and it punished kindness even faster. The steppe was a failed state. Let's strip away the romance. There was no government, no courts, no police, no safety net. Just tribes, grudges, raids, and starvation. The Mongol steppe wasn't freedom. It was a permanent state of collapse. Every alliance was temporary. Every peace was fake. Every winter, a death sentence. If that sounds familiar, it should. When Temüjin's father was poisoned, the tribe didn't hesitate. They took the horses, the weapons, and the protection, and they left a woman and her children to starve. That wasn't tradition. That was systemic abandonment. And Temüjin learned the first rule of power right there. If you don't matter politically, you don't matter at all.
No one was coming. I understood that immediately, so I taught my children how to eat off the land. We learned how to fish, how to live when they left us with nothing. I taught them never to expect mercy. Strike first, because mercy gets you killed.
Temüjin killed his half-brother Bektir, and people freak out about that. Here's what they leave out. Bektir was hoarding food. Food meant survival. There was no authority to stop him. No laws. No rule book. If one person hoarded resources, everyone else paid for it with their lives. Temüjin didn't kill out of rage. He killed because internal predators collapse groups faster than outside enemies. That lesson never left him.
If you let one man's greed starve the rest, you don't have a family. You have a ticking clock. That man must be exiled or removed in whatever way possible.
Enslavement was his final wake-up call. Temüjin got captured, treated like property, and that's when any illusion of fairness died. He didn't scream. He didn't beg. He watched. He learned routines. He memorized guards. He waited. And when he escaped, he didn't just run. He evolved. And then we have Jamuka, his blood brother, his Anda. Jamuka wasn't evil. He was worse. He was the old order. Power by birth, leadership by lineage, hierarchy protected by tradition. Temüjin threatened that by letting anyone rise. That alone guaranteed war. Because elites don't fight chaos. They fight competition.
Power belongs to families like mine. If anyone can lead, then birthright means nothing. He didn't break the rules. He erased them. He allowed slaves, beggars, and blacksmiths to be captains and generals. He broke the world I was born into. Power belonged to families like mine. Leadership was inherited. Then he let anyone rise. He made nobles equal to herders. That's not reform. That's destruction. And the worst part? It worked.
And Jamuka wasn't weak. He was outdated. His system depended on most people staying powerless. Temüjin's system rewarded usefulness. That is always going to win. Always. And that's why elites hate meritocracy. Because once people see it, they will never accept less again.
Temüjin didn't recruit princes, didn't recruit nobles. He recruited the people that were ignored, the people that were written off, the people who had already lost everything. And then he promoted them. That wasn't rebellion. That was an existential threat to every noble family on the steppe. Then came Onkan, surrogate father, ally, protector. He decided Temüjin was too dangerous to keep alive. That betrayal mattered more than all the others combined, because it proved something final. You can't rely on people. You have to rely on systems. And from that moment on, Temüjin stopped building alliances. He started building structure. And then there was Baljuna. After total defeat, Temüjin and his followers were reduced to nothing. No army, no supplies, no allies. Just a handful of people who refused to leave. And that's where the realization hit. If the tribes stay fragmented, this never ends. If power stays scattered, violence never stops. Someone has to centralize it. Someone has to end the cycle. And if no one else will do it, it will be him. Empires don't come from ambition. They come from system failure. Temüjin didn't create the monster. He responded to it. Every collapsing society produces a Temüjin eventually. Not because people love violence, because chaos doesn't stop itself. Someone always steps in. Temüjin didn't just unify the steppe. He enforced obedience. And he did it with consequences so severe that resistance stopped being attractive.
I was born into a dangerous world, and I didn't invent killing. I inherited it. What I changed was this. Before me, killing was random. After me, it was conditional. That choice mattered.
Surrender and live. Resist and disappear. That wasn't madness. That was efficiency. Shock and awe. Overwhelming response. Make an example so the next 10 don't fight. That's modern doctrine.
Before the unification of the steppe, I fought every year. The next year, someone came for our horses. Every year, we took our revenge. Every year, someone else did the same. The killing never stopped, it was senseless. After he became the ruler of the eternal sky, we fought once. Then it was over. For the first time in my life, I knew who was in charge, and I slept.
In a violent system, predictability is mercy. Random violence kills more people than organized violence. That's not philosophy, that's math. Fear spreads faster than facts. You didn't need Mongols outside your walls. You just needed someone who'd seen them.
It was horrible. They filled the holy temple with people and set it ablaze. There were women, children, and a few old men. I can still hear their cries.
Social media works the same way. You don't need to experience something to fear it. You just need to see it happen to someone else.
Before the Mongols, I paid bribes every mile. After them, I didn't. One law, one punishment. No negotiation. Trade exploded. And everyone pretends that's a coincidence.
And the world bent because Temüjin didn't just conquer land. He standardized behavior. The rules were clear. Punishment was certain. Corruption was fatal. You didn't have to like it. You just had to follow it. And that was fucking governance.
Their officials didn't steal. Our own system was slower and more corrupt.
Not destiny, not divine favor, not luck. Function.
Call me what you want. My people stopped dying for nothing. History can judge me. The dead don't care about your morals.
The Mongol Empire wasn't built on dreams. It was built on consequences. And the modern world still runs on the same code, just with cleaner language and better cameras. And that's why Temüjin still scares people.
I want to ask you a question too before we get to the end of this. Name the greatest generals in history. You'll hear the same list every time. Caesar, Napoleon, Alexander, maybe Rommel. Now here's the follow-up nobody answers honestly. Why do Genghis, Subutai, Jebe, and Batu barely make the list? They outperformed almost everyone on it. And it wasn't an accident, and it wasn't ignorance. It's all about who gets remembered and who gets minimized. The Mongols didn't just win wars. They redefined warfare. And they didn't do it once. They did it repeatedly. Across continents, climates, and enemies who outnumbered them. And yet, ask a random person who Subutai was, and you'll get blank stares. Ask them about a Roman general who lost half his battles, and suddenly, everyone's a historian. That's not neutral history. That's Eurocentric storytelling. And let's be very clear. Subutai is not one of the greatest generals ever. He is in the top tier, full stop. No debate. He fought campaigns thousands of miles apart at the same time. He coordinated multi-army operations across terrain no European army could even move through. He defeated numerically superior forces time and time again. He destroyed coalitions that didn't even speak the same language. And he did it without modern maps, radios, satellites, or standardized supply chains. Just logistics, planning, deception, and speed. Modern military academies still study him, but history barely mentions him. You ever ask yourself why?
If Subutai had been born in France or Rome, he'd have 10 movies, a dozen statues, and an HBO series. Instead, he gets footnotes. That's not about merit. That's about narrative control.
Jebe started as an enemy. Let that sink in. He wounded Genghis Khan in battle, admitted it, didn't lie about it. And instead of executing him, Genghis promoted him. Why? Because competence matters more than ego. Jebe went on to lead some of the most daring raids in military history, smashing enemies who never even realized they were at war. That's adaptability, leadership, and genius. But again, barely remembered. And then Batu. He didn't raid Europe. He systematically dismantled Poland and Hungary. The European knights, the supposed pinnacle of medieval warfare, were outmaneuvered, outpaced, and destroyed. And the only reason Europe survived wasn't bravery. It was timing. Ogadai died. That's it. A secession crisis saved Europe. That part gets skipped a lot. Imagine rewriting history so the losing side looks heroic. It happens all the time. Because losing while white gets framed as valiant resistance. Winning while Asian gets framed as barbaric invasion. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Western history didn't just record events, it filtered them. Asian powers were framed as chaotic and savage, while the European powers were framed as strategic and disciplined, even when the evidence says the opposite. The Mongols had advanced logistics, merit-based promotion, intelligence networks, psychological operations, and a unified command. Those are modern concepts, but admitting that breaks the narrative.
If we admit that they were better, what does that make us?
Calling this out isn't about tearing anyone down. It's about telling the truth. Genghis Khan wasn't a fluke. Subutai wasn't lucky. Jebe wasn't reckless. Batu wasn't mindless. They were professionals. And the world changed because of them. Look at whose achievements get amplified today. Look at whose brilliance gets labeled as raw talent. When history erases competence based on race or region, it teaches people the wrong lessons. It says power only comes from the West. Innovation only flows one direction. Intelligence looks a certain way. That's not just wrong. It's dangerous because it blinds people to reality.
I didn't need them to remember me. I needed my people to live. History can lie if it wants. The ground remembers who won.
The Mongols weren't forgotten because they failed. They were minimized because they succeeded too well. And in a way, that didn't fit the story people wanted to tell. Genghis Khan built the largest land empire ever. Subutai was one of the greatest generals in human history. Jebe rewrote what mobility meant in warfare. Batu shattered Europe's illusions of superiority. And if they'd been born white and west of the Adriatic, we wouldn't be having this conversation. The Mongol nightmare isn't that they conquered the world. It's that the world still refuses to admit how they did it and who they really were. That's it for the Mongol series. Hey, thanks for sticking around with me for the whole year. It's been a crazy one. We made it. Hopefully we can make it another one. It's hard to say with the way shit's going on in the world. Hopefully it gets better. I try to be optimistic, even when all you see is negative shit around you. But, hey, at least it's about to be 2026. So, yeah, I think we got one more episode, and then I'll see you next year. All right, take care. One love. Be safe. Fuck ice.